Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2024 World Chess Championship match between the champion Ding Liren from China and the challenger Gukesh D from India. This is game number 12 of a possible 14 classical games, and if it's tied 7-7, we play a tiebreak. Yesterday, in a pivotal 11th round, Gukesh struck. It's now his first lead in the match. He leads 6-5, a one-game lead with 3 games to go. There is no sugarcoating it. Ding Liren must win today. And if he fails, Gukesh may slowly build up an insurmountable lead. And before we jump into today's recap, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, myself. And if you ever got one of my courses, there's a special message for you. Folks, for years, I've made it my mission to make chess more accessible, more fun, and less intimidating than ever before. And I've tried to do that through my videos, my book, and my courses. But now, I'm taking it to the next level. Say hello to Chessly 2.0. The new Chessly launches with over 50 courses, so you can learn any opening you want, from the Vienna to the Sicilian. You can also improve your middle games, everything from attacking and defending and strategic play. You can master endgames, and you can get your journey started as a beginner. On Chessly 2.0, I wanted to build something that I wish I had when I was first improving. Learning chess should not feel like a job. It should feel like progress. And that's why the new Chessly is packed with amazing features. We totally redesigned the learning interface. Now you can earn streaks, XP, and level up. You can get achievements, and you can climb the leaderboard to watch your name get higher and higher. Also, you'll be able to connect your chess.com account to track your progress and stats over time. Imagine being able to import a game you just played and compare it to your Chessly course. And here's the best part. We did the math. On average, a Chessly user gains 100 rating points in their first 30 days. Imagine what that could mean for your chess goals. Whether you're just starting out, trying to break a plateau, or ready to hit your next rating peak, Chessly will help you climb higher and faster. Now, if you ever got a course from me before, listen up, this next part's for you. You've already received a welcome offer in your inbox. Sometimes you have to check spam, sometimes the promotions tab. Folks, I cannot wait to share Chessly 2.0 with all of you. We've been working on this for months, and I really feel like we've just built the best chess learning experience you can find. Mark your calendars, December 13th, 2024. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you as always to the talented, sponsored Gotham. Please make sure to check your inboxes if you ever get one of my courses before, and look forward to Chessly 2.0 on December 13th. You know who doesn't need Chessly? These guys. Too strong, too handsome, too talented. Folks, Ding has to win. He won the first game of the match, but he has not won a game with the white pieces. And throughout this match, he seemingly has played it safe way too often. But in the last World Championship match, Ding had a deficit going into game 12, and he won with white. I predicted he would play the English. I was right. Now, the last time that Gukesh was playing with black against the English, he went e5, because it is the most principled move. You play the reverse Sicilian defense, and in that game, he put the bishop on b4, and it was a very dynamic and interesting game. But folks, I'm going to tell you something. The hardest thing to do in chess is not to convert a winning position. It's not to learn a new opening. It's not to learn a new technique. The hardest thing in chess is to not lose. Gukesh is now playing in a game where he has to not lose. So he doesn't stick to his style, doesn't stick to the opening dynamic, and instead he goes c4, e6. And he does this because he's just going to play the Queen's Gambit declined. Yesterday, in a game, Ding had the black pieces, and I advocated for the Queen's Gambit decline because it's the meta. It's what you're supposed to do, and that is exactly what happens. We have c4, e6, g3, and d5. And bishop g2, this is an offering from Ding. He's trying to get Gukesh to take the pawn on c4 to open up his bishop. By the way, you can still do it. It's an okay move. But we have knight f6, knight f3, and it's pretty clear here that Ding is trying to do exactly what Gukesh did to him. He's trying to get him probably to play bishop to e7, and Ding would castle and then castle. And now this is the big question for me: was Ding going to play what he always plays? Ding is a Catalan god. Like, this man was playing the Catalan before it was cool. So would he have played this, or would he have gone for b3? Well, we're not going to have to find out because Gukesh shoves the pawn to d4, which is also the most principled move. This is exactly what Ding did yesterday. He put the d pawn on d4, right? And it's kind of hard for white to develop here. We have castles, and now things start getting very interesting very quickly. In these types of pawn structures, black likes to connect the pawns. Black likes to defend the pawn with the pawn. But as we saw yesterday, there are some gambits with the B pawn, which is what Gukesh played. There's also just the pure reverse Benoni, which is c5, e3, knight c6, pawn takes, d3. This is called the reverse Benoni, and since you're playing it with white, it's actually not so bad. You know, there's like bishop g5 ideas, there's a3 ideas, there's like a lot of different ideas where you push your pawn here. It's a very dynamic and interesting system. But Gukesh puts the knight in front of the c pawn, which is totally fine. That's another way to play. And black is like, well, I'm going to play as active as possible. I'm not going to put my pawn on c5. White can play a3. Black will respond a5 without any hesitation whatsoever. But now things get very strange. At this point, people play this position in two different ways. They play e5 because that is why the knight is on c6. And what e5 does is after pawn takes, and rook e1 check, bishop e7, you castle, black's fine. So is white. Everybody's fine. Everybody's chilling. All right. Another way to play this position is to play more actively with the bishop on c5. But with the bishop on c5, things do get a little bit strange because white kind of can always play some b4 stuff. I think even Magnus played this, if I remember correctly, at previous world championship. So, or this kind of bishop c5 idea. Yeah, now Gukesh plays bishop e7. So he plays knight c6, but then puts the bishop more passively. But he plays it really fast. This is obviously his preparation. And here, Ding, rather than taking right away and playing for b3 systems, he stays patient, d3. He doesn't do anything just yet, but he spends 8 minutes. And it's quite clear that, again, as early as moves 6 and 7, he's thinking on his own, which is mind-blowing. Like, it's crazy because... I mean, you would think you show up to play this system and, like, you have something against the pawn going to d4. So Ding perpetually giving people a heart attack. By the way, look, I know that, like, 600,000-700,000 people on YouTube and whatever the Facebook algorithm spits out in these recaps, ultimately, like, a bunch of you tune into these recaps. You want my insights. You kind of want my feedback. But I do see comments here and there like, you think you're better than the players. Why are you not playing? Bogus. Absurd. Baloney. If that's your reaction to the recap, I don't know what goes on up here for you, but I can tell you're not above 500 elo, so let's not start. I'm not saying what I would have played. I'm not saying, but I am saying I am confused sometimes. I am confused. And that's all. It's okay to be confused. Now, we see the point of Ding's prep. It's to take with the bishop, although he did spend 4.5 minutes on that move, so maybe it wasn't. And now Gukesh shows us what his prep is. Gukesh shows us he wants the pawn on e5, he wants the bishop here, he wants the knight on c6, and the computer evaluates the position as equal. But there is a big problem with black's position, which doesn't really show itself to a human being. And it's part of the reason that all the way back here, frankly, all the way back here, black could probably just go for the pure reverse Benoni, or black can play the more active version of this position. But you get to this position, right? You know, and you sit and you ask, by the way, Ding is down 27 minutes on the clock. So again, prep has sort of paid off for Gukesh. But you ask yourself a question, you go, hey, where does black move? Like, what is black's next move? I mean, Ding plays rook e1. Sensible. He wants to target this pawn in the future. And yeah, Gukesh shows us he has to spend 15 minutes here and push a pawn 1 square. People got mad at me yesterday because I said, yesterday's game was both a very exciting game, but also a reason chess will never make it to mainstream television or attract because at some point both players spent 1 hour on 1 or 2 moves. And the point was that you can't put that on the TV. And people were like, well, you're a biggest channel, you can't say things like that. I can say whatever I want, first of all. But second of all, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard, 15 minutes on a pawn push. But if you have a good broadcast team, then obviously, yeah, what other sport? Nothing happens for 15 minutes. Curling? I don't want to insult anybody that does curling. I just know you sweep the floor and the thingy goes... Anyway, A3, golf. Although golf is also pretty exciting for people that want to follow. And it has like hundreds of millions of dollars in it, so... Anyway, folks, yeah, Ding is just making improvements. He's making improvements. You know, he just wants to take space. Gukesh shuts that down. And now Ding plays a little maneuver, which is very popular in a lot of positions with a kingside fianchetto. Keep this in mind for your own games. Plays h3, which takes away the g4 square. And Gukesh develops, and now Ding puts the king on h2. Just a very king off the back rank, defending everything. Everything's good. And now Gukesh plays rook b8. Spends another 15 minutes because I got news for you. It's not easy to make a move. You know, you can play queen d7 and then rook d8. That probably is the best move, or at least put your rook also here. But I think Gukesh didn't like the rook here because he didn't know if the rook wanted to be there or if it wanted to be behind the queen. He also didn't know if maybe he's going to move the f-pawn in the future. Like, you know, if Ding does this and Gukesh gets to play f5 and then also maybe gets to play knight f6, you know, he'll, I don't know, maybe that's what he was holding out hope for. So he plays rook b8, which is definitely a bit of a mysterious move. But the pawn is protected always, and maybe he has like a concrete plan. He's gonna like put the knight and jump forward. I don't know, right? I don't know. Ding just keeps making tiny little improving moves. And the problem, and here's a lesson for you, the person who controls the pawn breaks of a chess game controls the game. And right now, Black does not have a pawn break. A pawn break is a spot where you can start trading pawns. The money move is d4. If Ding can successfully pull off d4, he's going to be very happy because all his pieces are going to open up, okay? So rook e8 is the move chosen by Gukesh now. And Ding puts the knight on b5, which is a move that he was able to pull off because when he played a3, feinting that he was going to play b4, actually probably playing b4 if, you know, a5 doesn't happen, this is a move that stops this, but in the future enables white to make more progress. That knight now targets c7 basically indefinitely, and rook d1 and d4 is still very much possible. So Ding is doing everything right. Gukesh now responds with the best move. He plays bishop f5. That bishop was not going to have a future there. You have to put pressure on this pawn and this queen. Now, through 16 moves, all Ding has done, literally, and I do really mean it, is just improve his position. And it's a lesson to all of you not to rush. Look at how from this position, he plays knight c3, rook e1, a3, h3, both taking squares away from his opponent and trying to push pawns forward. Put his king on h2, which is a very microscopic improvement. Slides the queen out of the way, puts the knight forward, and puts the rook here. And now Gukesh is thinking, and he's like, yo, I don't really know what to do. Like, you know, I can put the bishop back on f8 because I put my rook here. I defend this. Bishop f8 probably is the best move because you see the problem with Gukesh's prep is that the prep was fine. The engine said it was equal, but it's not. You don't know what the best move is. You can't make a move here. So knight d7 is the move that he chooses. And Ding now plays a very natural move. Queen to d2. The bishop is out of the way of the queen. The pawn is targeted. And d4 is on the way. d4 now has 5 different things defending it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you know it's the hot spot of the position. And if he pulls this move off, the game is going to explode. Now, Gukesh just took a step backwards, right? He now takes another step backwards, anticipating Ding coming forward. But look at the time. Gukesh has spent a combined, like, 70 minutes of this game moving pieces 1 square. Bishop back to g6 after 26 minutes. h6 after 15 minutes. Rook b8 after 15 minutes. He has spent like an hour moving a piece 1 square, which shows you that the prep actually landed him in a position that was really, really difficult by accident. And now here comes d4. They say in mixed martial arts, backing up against the wrestler is dangerous, especially ones that are really good at wrestling against the fence, because you run out of space, right? You run out of space. And now Ding has got the arms are connected. He's deep in the takedown, and he's going to scoop him. He's just going to find the right moment to do so. I don't know why these guys are actually wrestling. I can't actually imagine Ding putting his hands on Gukesh, but you never know, all right? Now Gukesh has to push. It's the only thing. If you open up the position, not only does white take, white doesn't even have to take, and it is shockingly difficult to protect the c7 pawn. So Gukesh goes here, and now my man Ding. I mean, my man Ding just undevelops the knight to the g1 square. This is expert technique. Expert. By playing the move d4, he utilized pawn play to force this pawn forward weaken the f4 square, and now the knight begins the journey around the world. Gukesh plays knight b6. That's why the knight was rerouted to target the pawn on c4. Ding, cool, calm, and collected. Improving the position. You know what we're calling him right now? He's not Ding chilling. He's not chilling anymore. He's chef. He's just cooking. He's just adding ingredients one by one. He's just enjoying himself. Stirring a little bit, a little salt, taste the broth, maybe throw some celery in there, some carrots. Gukesh plays bishop f6. Again, the entire game has been spent by Gukesh waiting for Ding to do something. That is the worst type of game to find yourself in. And guess what? This bishop slides forward to f6. Ding gets out of the way. Every move that Ding has made has been calculated. He could have gone queen c2 right away. But then Gukesh would maybe not have gone bishop f6 because there would have been no queen there. Actually, Ding is a genius because he baits this move. And now the bishop is even worse positioned on f6 because if anything, maybe you needed to use the f-pawn. Like maybe the bishop needed to be on f8. Maybe now on f6 it's completely misplaced. Gukesh playing a4. He's just trying to push the position back. But now both guys have 24 minutes to make the remaining half the moves. They have made 21 moves. They have 19 moves to go. And Ding is cooking it up. He's slow roasting the position. But can he win? He's made all the necessary improvements. But can he win? Because we have seen in this match, the second he gets ahead at all, he's happy to kill the game off. Does he have the killer instinct to put the game away as Gukesh is waiting like this, ready to just throw some hands? Knight e2. The knight is traveling back to the f4 square. Gukesh offers a trade of the bishops. Again, look at how many moves Gukesh has made where a piece has gone one square because the position is struggling, gasping for air. The knight goes to f4, and now we see some problems here. The problem is that here, I think Gukesh wanted to move the bishop back. And after c5, he wanted to take and put the knight on d5. But here's the problem. If bishop h7, c5, bishop f4, Ding's position is so legendary, he can just take on b6. And the bishop is hanging, and after this is fatal. Absolutely fatal. And that's why the king actually was totally safe on the h2 square. So the threat was to throw this in. And obviously, if the bishop comes here, you take, you have bishop f4, but also you have d5 and a pin. And suddenly, it's not just that white's position looks good and looks powerful and looks strong. The white position is fatal. Fatal. There is nothing black can do to stop this coming. So now Gukesh has to remove the knight, but now Ding has the benefits of the position and the stability and the dynamics. The rook goes to c8. Ding can strike now, but he slides forward one square. Precise, like a surgeon, like a chef. d5 is on the way, queen e5, queen a5 covering all of black's moves. Gukesh jumps backwards. Gukesh is giving up a rook. He's allowing his own rook to be trapped because it's the only way to try to create something. It's the only way. But guess what? Ding spends 3 minutes and he plays d5. There is going to be no mercy for the rook. You are not going to just take it off the board and be up the material. He says, no, thank you. My position is so dominant. The relative value of my knight is higher than your rook. It's a term I like to use on this channel. It's the piece value of a game in the game. There's the piece value just in general. Rook is 5, knight is 3. That's a 4-point knight, and that is a 3-point rook. Queen d7, d6. You hear that? That's Ding, and he's knocking on the door. d6, trying to get into the position on the c7 square. Gukesh trying to lock it all up. Can I just say, before I proceed with this game, this is the best game that Ding has played this match. This might be the best game that Ding has played in 2 World Championship matches. This is the Ding Liren we were desperately searching for this entire match and the last one. This is the Ding Liren that was over 2,800 in 2019. This is the Ding Liren who would have tried to put some more pressure in some of those games with the white pieces. This is the Ding Liren we have found out of nowhere. Down a game, Gukesh woke him up in game 11, and now we have a match on our hands. Knight into c7, bishop takes e4, One pawn has been collected. Now you have the advantage of the position and material. And the bishop just comes right back. Rook d8, knight d5, prying apart the black defenses. We're going to remove all of the defenders, win another pawn, and break into the position. The pawns are doubled, but they're doubled to take away all of the mobility of the black position. And now Ding is up 2 pawns. Gukesh, honestly, he can resign here. The position is completely lost, but he's holding out some hope. Ding has 5 minutes. He did lose on time earlier in this match. But not only does he not lose on time, he builds up an insurmountable advantage. Rook e8 is on the way. Gukesh has to play a move. He goes here, and my man Ding wins game 12 of the World Chess Championship match of 2024 by sacrificing the rook. Rook takes g7, and it's a check if you take bishop f8, take d8. Ding wins. It's 6-6. You might misconstrue my excitement as cheering for Ding. Actually, no. If anything, I predicted that Gukesh would win the World Championship of this year, and frankly, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. The youngest world champion ever, but I'm unbiased. What I'm most excited about is it's 6-6 with 2 games to go. Ding just played the best game that he's played in maybe half a decade. And all he needed was Gukesh to land a haymaker. And this is unbelievable stuff. I mean, this is... Ding continues to be the biggest mystery in chess. Today's game was not an underperformance from Gukesh. The preparation led to a position that maybe didn't suit his style so well, but there was nothing he could have done today. Nothing. Maybe he should have played c4e5 on the first move to just stick to his own previous prep and playing style. Yesterday, Ding looked done. Magnus Carlsen said that the most likely outcome is Ding crumbles. He looked completely defeated. Ding is the biggest mystery I've ever seen. One day he looks just beyond deflated. And then he shows up and plays like this. Folks, this is a match. This is a match. I really thought after yesterday it wasn't. I was ready to celebrate. Like I was like, but no. And this is going to be a massive learning and sports moment for Gukesh. Can he strike back? The match is tied. There are 2 games to go. And then we might have a tiebreaker. If you ever got a course, check your inbox for your welcome offer. Chessly 2.0 is on the way in 4 days. That's all I've got for you today. See you for game number 13. Get out of here.